afternoon. Nimish and I represent Elevate, and today we wanted to share our learnings through our journey to real-time data capture. My name is Michelle Castillo, and I am the email and SMS channel manager at Elevate. I work on the marketing communications strategy as well as execution, and I'm using Telium to help me build a more personalized communication for my customers.
Hi, I'm Nimish Patel. I work as a web analytics manager at Elevate. Prior joining Elevate, I worked for a nutritional supplement company in the similar capacity. Got over 10 plus years of experience in this field. In fact, I started back when Google AdWords were not there. If anyone recalls Overture, Yahoo search marketing, that's when I started doing online marketing, digital strategies. And I have worked in other industries like publishing, education, healthcare services.
Today we're going to talk about Elevate as a company, a high-level view of our acquisition funnel, and 3 use cases. So Elevate was founded on data and innovation with a customer-first approach. Elevate is reinventing the lending industry by offering consumers transparent and responsible credit options. We call this approach good today, better tomorrow. The current economic landscape is creating a large need for these lending options. 47% of Americans can't afford an emergency expense of $400. The median household income is dropping, and 2 in 5 Americans say they experience month-to-month fluctuations of 30% or more in their income. So what is non-prime lending? Customers in the 700 and above, they can get loans from their banks or credit card companies. Consumers who fall below 600 and below FICO, they are more reliant on payday, bricks and mortar, title loans, maybe their friends and family. Well, Elevate focuses on that subprime, that middle range, about 41% of Americans, where these consumers they have income, they're the middle class, they just don't have access to those banks and credit card companies. Elevate has 3 different products. So we have Rise and Elastic, which is based in the US, and Sunny in the UK. And we have provided more than $2.6 billion in credit to 1.3 million customers. And what sets Elevate apart and leagues above others in our industry is that we're 100% online. We offer consumers and our customers the option to design their own loan. We have no hidden fees, and we perform soft collections. We also offer financial wellness features, including rates that go down over time and credit bureau reporting, to echo our sentiment of good today, better tomorrow. And I'm going to pass it to Nimish to talk about marketing.
All right, so basically we are a pretty solid data-driven company, and we are pretty dynamic. Our CEO has got pretty entrepreneurial culture built up over this, and try out all different channels, offline, online marketing. These are the few channels that we currently market, TV, radio, outdoors, those bus wraps, and then everyone is aware of the other one. So these are a few examples of how those paid search and display ads work. We do a ton of paid search, branded, non-branded, email marketing. Now these are more of direct response kind of marketing channels, but we do focus on brand building through TV. These are some of our TV ads that run in UK and over here. So you know, it's, since we collect tons and tons of data from different channels, different vendors, what we initially started doing is, get, initial growth from, for Rise was essentially direct marketing, direct mail, paid search. But then we started doing a little bit of TV. Last year, we captured tons and tons of information, and then found out, got some insights, found out that if we can flight in TV and a direct mail. Direct mail is the flyer, the mail that goes into everyone's house. Time it properly, we have a better response rate. So this is more like an omni-channel marketing. We do a lot of brand tracking, customer satisfaction surveys. We do focus groups, and then definitely multi-judge attribution model. Different channels, different devices, and so forth. So I'm sure everyone is aware of 5 stages of analytical marketing. You identify a customer, based on their behavior, segmentation, design the plan, work on the creatives with the brand team, execution. Before that, we do a lot of testing, QAing, and then optimize. But what we want from Telium was to how can they help us in different stages of this analytical marketing. So we'll go through the current ecosystem, analytical ecosystem at Elevate. So these are our data capture technologies. I'm calling it marketing tracking system. It's our own homegrown tracking system. We use Splunk, Google Analytics, Wupra, and then Telium Data Access. For A/B testing, we use Optimizely, Adobe Test. Now, it's pretty, I was looking at Daryl's presentation at HP. They had like 4 tag management system. In fact, we also have 4 tag management system. Google Tag, Adobe, TIQ, and our own internal tag management system. Well, don't ask me why we have 4, but while we were evaluating Telium or TIQ, they really wanted to get Adobe Test as our A/B testing tool, and they kind of sold the product or the business, saying, you know what, we'll give you for free and just use it. So we have Adobe Tag also inbuilt. They said, nah, it might not work with Google Tag Manager or whatever it is. So these are our 4 tag management systems. Eventually, we want to get rid of all 4. That's the goal. And then for analysis, we use SAS, and then R, Python, Excel, and Tableau. So that's our current analytical ecosystem. Now, currently we have about 200 plus tags. The distribution is, display, Floodlight for display, social, different partners, vendors, and a lot of internal, custom tracking. And using Ghost-Tree, if you go to our site, these are the different tags that we are firing. Just wanted to show you, what all tags we have. So, not sure if everyone can identify yourself, but this is most important concern from our CMO is like there's so many data sources, but it's so difficult for us to pinpoint, why certain metrics went up or down. So, for example, if I tell them that, our week-over-week visits went up by 12%, he wants to know why. So what? Are we doing good? Are we doing bad? What happened? What caused it? So it's becoming so crucial for me to produce, not just reports, but answer those questions on why or so what. And these are the questions that we sought to ask Telium. So we'll go through the conversion funnel real quick. So we got like online and offline marketing channels. In the blue, we have like new informers, newer customers who have never applied on our site. So let's say they come to our homepage, and the goal is to have them apply and get a loan from us. So that's how our conversion funnel is. And these are different various application steps or different steps where someone who starts an application or visits our site and then ends up getting a loan. They use different devices, desktop, laptops, tablets, and mobile devices, and they come at different times. So, you all are familiar with, the multi-touch, multi-cross device. They might use page search on their laptops and then use direct as on mobile, and then they come and go within different pages or different application steps of our product. So on Rise, the way we define, or the way I defined the conversion funnel is how many people came to the home page and then how many people applied and got a loan. Blues are the one which are our application steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they get approved. And then after they get approved, they select what kind of, they want to check or a direct deposit, and then they sign some agreements and they get a loan. Now, the challenge is, we have already established that, okay, certain customers, they come to our homepage through a direct mail, and they all get a loan. So we have like 50% of the total homepage visits are coming from direct mail, and then 60% of our loans, they come from direct mail. But within the application steps and within the product the flow, we don't know what steps are they dropping off, and what other channels are helping them to complete this funnel. It can be a paid search, or it can be an email channel also. So that's where our challenge is, to identify each of those visitors, assign them, profile them essentially, and then help them push through the funnel. So why Telium? So far we have done so much of analytics. We do a lot of segmentation, behavior analysis, but that is always done on the front end of the conversion funnel. So I'm not talking about the marketing funnel where we'd go through the awareness and consideration and conversion, but this is more about how, when they come to our site, do they convert, or how do they convert? So every click the customer does on our site, they tell us a story, they tell us their intent, what they want to do. So we want to capture each and every click events, essentially, using Telium IQ and Audience Stream. We want to assign them badges, profile them, store it in Amazon Web Services, and essentially get this data in form of a semi-structured or even raw data, and run our SaaS programs. Put Tableau on it. We have a big data team over here in San Diego, so they use R a lot. And then essentially, help us design different marketing campaigns, creating content, marketing ads, help us, doing some remarketing, retargeting. The goal is to kind of, increase applications, increase loan, decrease acquisition cost, increase, return on investment, and then have a better user experience all over the place. Other reasons why we use Telium, or why we went for Telium, was, everyone is aware of the cross-device, cross-channel attribution, visitor staging. Offline data integration. So, we use different channels. So far, it's so difficult to identify a customer who came from a TV or a direct mail or a radio. But if we can upload all our offline data, we can definitely pinpoint that this particular customer came from, this particular direct mail that went out in May 1st week versus April 1st week, and so on and so forth. Instant feedback on Audience Stream. So Michelle will go through some A/B testing use case, but it's just how, I won't use the word amazing, but it's exciting to see how those badges that you have assigned, they start getting assigned and they get drop off, and so on and so forth. So it helps us understand how the campaign is going on real time. Plus, if something is broken, Audience Stream, just visualizing it, will know that, oh, this is broken, and let's fix it. Everyone is aware of personalization of content delivery. We have great our own CMS. We can integrate Telium user behavior and profiling, and then serve them more personal pages. This is my favorite one. Right now, we all in our company, we have certain set KPIs defined, like what is our cost for acquiring a loan, or cost for acquiring an app. But using Telium, I want to start defining new KPIs based on the channels. A customer from Texas might be different from a customer from California, and so on and so forth. So it helps me even set certain benchmark, and then moving forward, if my CMO comes and says, hey, why certain metrics are not performing, and then I always have a benchmark saying, hey, because of this, it's not performing. So definitely helps most of the web analytics folks. Data enrichment, deeper insights and analysis. We have probably over 40 plus PhDs in maths and stats. So they love data, they love writing algorithms, they love modeling. So this is a great tool from them. They just can consume like whatever, any number of data points they want. So they would have fun with it. Less reliance on IT. Since we are highly regulated industry, a smallest possible change in the compliance, we real quickly have to change our product. Now, it might be as simple as a small checkbox or a small button or a radio button or something, and that goes into the place. Now, next week itself, they all want to know how are our customers doing. So I have to again, write a requirement for our dev team to kind of, send it out to the IT, they code it, and then it goes into next month's release cycle. So, but this on-page element selector is an awesome tool, love it. You can just tag it right off the bat and start giving them insights. So I love this too. Real-time behavioral targeting, remarketing, Michelle is going to cover those and how we use email as a channel. And then this is something that just fell into my lab where we are trying to get rid of one tool, and they said, is or can Telium do this? So I'll walk through that in the later part of the presentation. Challenges that we had while implementation, team size was one, that was me, myself. I had some help with an intern to document certain things, but kudos to the Telium deployment team. They did most of the heavy lifting, and they took care of us on time. In fact, we were behind time, but they were like on the task, and they were proactively helping us. What comes next, and so on and so forth. Constant product changes. I'm sure everyone faces that challenge. But as we have like 4 tag management systems, it's not only that I have to implement Google, Adobe, and our internal, but use Telium also, constantly implementing. We had a lot of resistance from IT, security, legal, compliance, business, product. So everyone have to be on the same page when I say, hey, I want to track this. And then everyone would start raising red flags saying, no, we cannot do it, or yes, we cannot do it. So organization element was one of the other challenges where I have to constantly keep on talking to them. And then the agencies that we use, they are so much familiar with other, their way of doing marketing. So educating them also was a challenge. But the more I talk to them, the more educated I get. I tend to bug our account managers, and get myself more educated. The products that we use are this. Pretty much think most of the Telium suites of product. Michelle is going to talk about the email.
Thank you. Okay, first use case is our emailing our DoNothing customers. So what is a DoNothing? We term a DoNothing customer as a former or prospective customer that comes back and fills out an application. They get conditionally approved. However, they don't accept the loan. And this offer is valid 10 days. So essentially, this customer is a cart abandonment. However, they're more invested. They've spent a lot of time filling out that whole application. They've given us PII, their social security number, their banking information. And we've also done our part. So we've scored them, and we've extended them an offer. So 2 investments on either side, we just need a handshake. So this is where Telium can come in and help us really retarget this customer in the most effective way to get them to come back. Here's an example of our current DoNothing creatives. These are just, hey, you're approved, just a reminder email, you're 1 click away, and kind of a countdown, since it is time sensitive. So the DoNothing challenge we faced, we were working on a batch and blast system. We used our ESP exact target, And this was all programmed, not based on customer behavior, and lack of insight on that journey. Where did they drop off? What did they see before and after? So these are our 4 steps that we were on. So we had they don't accept the loan, and we ping our database. We get that nice fancy subscriber list file. We pair it up to the ESP, and we send it out. Great. Well, Telium actually helped us get rid of 2 of those steps. So making us extremely streamlined now. And we had a lot of questions in between that when someone doesn't accept a loan and then we send them an email, okay, but what do we send them? We had a lot of questions. Telium had those answers. They tell us a story. So they were able to tell us where they dropped off in the approval page, what was their journey coming up to the approval page through the site, and then what was the journey afterwards, if any, or if they just clicked out of the browser. Here's a couple screenshots of what the customer sees in our approval page. This screenshot shows the design of their loan. So if we extend them an offer $2,000, they may not take that full amount. Maybe they'll adjust it. And then we have our disclosures. They have to sign and agree. Their payment method, how they want to accept the money, and their more sign an agreement. And so Telium can tell us which step of that 4 did they abandon, and that way we can retarget them in that appropriate messaging. And I also mentioned too that they can tell us the journey on the actual site itself. So if we have 3 different customers, customer A comes, he's exploring the FAQ page, then he applies, he gets that loan offer, and then we see him go back to Know Before You Owe, which is a site that we have that kind of just gives our customers just what to expect when they take out a loan with us. So that customer looks very like, okay, they're still exploring the product, they don't really understand, so maybe we can send them a different tailored email with that. Customer B comes in, he gets approved, he has that offer, but he abandons, but then we notice afterwards he goes to how it works, and then rates and terms. So this guy looks like he's going on the fine print, he wants to see kind of more on the detailed product he might buy, maybe he's shopping around, so we'll send him a different email for him. And last customer, customer C, she's looking at what it costs beforehand, then she went in, applied, got a loan offer, and then she abandoned on that design your loan where she can pick and choose her price. So this customer looks like she's more savvy on the pricing, so maybe we can send her an email about different pricing offers, and because she seems like she's shopping around. And having these tailored messaging is just essential for us because, as I said, these customers are so invested and they've given us their PII. That's a lot of information, so they need to trust us. And this establishes credibility on our end. And it's extremely helpful. And we have just started implementing this kind of test. So I don't have any solid numbers for you today, but I've seen in previous testing, personalization increases 5 to 10% lift in click-through rate. Second use case is our application abandonment. So this is the true kind of cart abandonment. So we have a 5-step application process. They go through the application, filling out all their data. So last year we had a 1-page application, and it was very daunting, long page, and if a customer fills it out, abandons, they get halfway through, we didn't save it. They'd have to refill in all the fields. Very annoying. So we had a website redesign, and we implemented a multi-page application, smaller bites, and we saved their progress as they went. And the biggest thing I was so stoked about, we captured their email address on the very first step. So yes, my mouth was watering. I had all those emails. It was for free, so it was great. However, we still didn't have a way to figure out, okay, where did they abandon? We knew they did, but where did they abandon? And also still working on that batch and blast, so it's kind of slow. So here's just a quick view of that 1 page, so it's kind of daunting. And now we've broken it out to the 5 steps: get started, contact information, they put in their income, their checking account information, and their sign and submit. So you can see a customer, they give us a lot of information. They're very invested if they get through this whole process. And especially if they abandon on step 4, they made it the majority of the way. All they have to do is sign and submit. So we want to retarget them and get them back in. So with this process, we had a generic email already created because we thought, okay, we'll retarget these emails, but Telium finally got implemented. So we were like, oh, maybe we can test on that. So we created step-specific emails. So what we did, we wanted to test generic against step-specific, as well as now I don't have to do batch and blast. I can do customer behavior where Telium can, via API, just send them an email as soon as they abandon. That was awesome. So we wanted to test immediate send versus an hour later or so, just to see what the ideal time is. So we set up a multivariate testing plan, and keep in mind, we used just only ExactTarget and Telium for this. So this whole test, which was awesome. So we had our population. We ran this test for about 2 months. In our population, we had about 60,000 sends. So 30,000 we sent a minute after they abandoned, and then the other 30 we sent an hour later. And then broken out between the minute, we sent them, as you can see, the blue was a generic message. So 15,000 had a generic minute later, and 15,000 had a step-specific a minute later, and just the same on the hour side. So half generic and then half step-specific, and for each different step. And we need to capture the email address on step 1, so that's why we only could retarget if they abandon on step 2, 3, and 4, 5.
So if you want to go a step
yeah.
back. So this is what audience team testing I was talking about. So great, like every customer, when they go from step 1 to step 2, a badge is assigned. And then when they go to step 3, a badge is assigned. Now, all this configuration on audience team was done by the deployment team. And they help us think also, like you just don't assign this customer a badge of step 2 and then badge of step 3. We have to take away the second step badge because now he's on step 3 of the application. So if he abandons, that's the email that needs to send out. So all this setup and A/B testing, the multivariate testing, all was done using audience stream. And once the customer leaves, the second minute, it will connect with ExactTarget, and boom, they'll send us email right away. So,
Yeah, thank you, Nimish. So here's our generic email. And then here we have all our step-specific. So we were able to tailor each different message according to the step that they abandoned. And our results. So you can see generic versus specific, and generic, or the clicks, and then the click-through rate. And as you can see, step-specific was the winner. We had a 39% lift in click-through rate, and that we were thrilled. Oh, thank you. Oh, the applause. Thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. So that was so effective, and we were just, again, thrilled with the results. And just another hour versus minute. I'm sure you're all wondering, you're on the edge of your seats to figure out what happened here. And we had a 6% lift in step-specific, but nonetheless, still effective, And that just goes with our market who we're targeting to was just, whether sending time, they're still kind of shopping around. But nonetheless, it was a very successful test.
So moving forward, we probably would do like a 30-minute email and a 1-hour email, and then see which test wins, and keep testing it.
Yep. So conclusion, we saw the 39% lift, and then next steps, we're going to create a holdout just to see the lift we can get just sending all full traffic with the step-specific immediate email.
All right. So here's I'll walk through a quick process on how customer applies on our site. So they go visit our site, they submit an application, and then we display the application status is like with the declined or approved, and if they're approved, they get a loan. Now, in between submit an application and displaying the status, they go through the background or on the back end side of it. These are the different processes that happens. We validate that application, we save that application, and we send it to the underwriting. Then the decisioning happens. Now, when we are decisioning an application, there are a number of calls that we make to the credit bureaus, to the bank, a lot of internal marketing data that if the customer is applied or not. There's an iOvation data service that we use and they provide us with all the mobile device information. So if there's a phone number, it will tell us if this phone number is connected to the address that they have filled into our application. So a lot of fraud checks here and there. And then we use Merita's other data because that's the company that we don't want to use. But there are so many other data elements that we really want to capture while they are applying and doing the application decision process. So for an example, if usually someone takes about 7 to 10 minutes to fill out an application, but if it's a fraud or a bot filling out an application, it might be like a minute or less. So that's the data that we want to capture. So time spent filling out that application, we want to send that to the client data capture and send it to the decisioning engine saying, hey, this looks like a fraud, so don't pass, and so on and so forth. So there are many data elements like pages visited, toggle between FAQs, or if they lost focus. So if they went to a different website, came back to our website. Now, Tedium doesn't capture all these variables. They'll capture half of what we want, but then we internally would pass on this variables, and we'll store it in the pixel container tag that Tedium has going to have designed for us. So we'll, as and when customer is applying, we'll start sending all this information to the Tedium container tag, and when say they hit the submit button, we'll get all this information into our decision engine, and then use it for the decisioning. So the goal is to remove that tool and then start using Tedium data. And the best thing is it's all real time. And we again are using Amazon Web Services, so the historical data is always there, so you can always do a lot of data mining based on that data. So that's where we are going to start using Tedium Audience Stream and the data access services. So eventually, we want to replace with our marketing data tracking, but there's a lot of convincing to be done in different departments to do that. So we want to give a big kudos and shout out to our Tedium team, Jim, Laura, and Dave. I think Dave is there, Laura is there, Nicole is there, and Jim is out, but they have helped us a lot. I was the only one who was kind of managing the whole process, but they did most of the heavy lifting, educating us, guiding us. I'm sure whoever our Tedium customers, they must have experienced the same with other teams. Thank you, and take any questions if you guys have any.